Hello, welcome back to the Uneducation Station. I'm here with my buddy Arthur.
I am Arthur,
And,
believe it or not.
Yeah, and so today we decided that we were going to do a little bit more of an origin story, like how we met, where we're from, all of the nitty-gritty monologue-y type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. This is the character development arc.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. We wanted to just hit the ground running, and
we're on our feet. We got defeated by the antagonist, and now we're doing the flashback,
Yes,
so we can do our special move.
yes, the Vietnam flashbacks.
The Vietnam flashback. He doesn't get it. He'll get it soon after he watches more. Don't worry.
Hey man, my anime journey is not that long. Okay?
Come on, man. You watch Dragon Ball Z. You know the flashback. When did they have? Did they have? They had it in Naruto.
They had it in the Dragon Ball movies.
Oh, I guess you're right. They didn't really flashback. They just sat there and screamed for episodes, right?
Yeah.
3 episodes later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good show, by the way.
I was just watching the waveform of the but yeah, so basically today we're going to be talking about ourselves, which sounds very misogynistic.
The opposite, actually. Misogynistic. Yes.
Wait. I can't word good.
Come on, man. I woke up. You could tell I woke up like 30 minutes ago. Come on now.
Narcissistic.
Narcissistic. There we go.
Yeah.
Misogynistic.
I can't gesture too violently because you'll see me on that camera.
Misogynistics. I love when my misogynists, whenever they rub my backs and stuff. Yes.
Oh man. Okay. So.
Yes. This is a good start. This is
Yeah,
a good start.
good
Yeah.
start.
I'm so sorry. I woke up really late. Like Zach got here while I was asleep. My mom had to wake me up. He was like, Zach's here. And I'm like, oh. But I've been busy. If you know me, I don't know when this is going to go out, so timelines are all over the place. But if you know me, I'm very busy. Side note really quick. Guess what? Your boy got the original @Anuki on Twitter.
Nice.
ANUKI.
Yeah.
It's so clean. Because before it was Anuki, ANUWUKI, which I was okay with.
Right.
It's cool. But not as cool as just Anuki. That'd be like you having @Zach.
Yeah. What the hell?
Right? It's so nuts. So yeah, that I don't know, this will probably be up in like 2 weeks, I think. 1 or 2 weeks. Or I guess if it's Saturday right now, then probably the week. Okay, nobody cares. It's just whenever you see it, right? But yeah, if you want to get a figure of whenever we start or whenever we record this episode, if you care about that, I don't know. I don't care about that, but I would. Okay, let's stop dating ourselves. Let's stop dating the episode. So let's start, I guess. So after a little bit of fact checking with my brain and my self-conscious, we met in 3rd grade, I believe,
Yes.
because I don't remember having classes with you in first, second, or prior. Because in 1st grade I had, Miss Gray.
Okay.
You didn't have Miss Gray.
No.
So we went to the same schools in, elementary, middle, and high school actually.
Right.
So we went to Glenwood Heights. Shout out to Glenwood Heights.
Yeah.
Went to Lauren. Shout out to Lauren. And Prairie. Shout out to Prairie.
Yeah, I don't know if they need the shout outs.
Hey man, why not? Shout out. We got to represent Vancouver, man.
Yeah,
Not a lot of
fair.
stuff goes around here,
Yeah, that's
we're going to put Vancouver on the map. We're not. But
well, maybe we might.
There might be one person be like, "Oh, Vancouver." And there we go. That's mission accomplished.
Yes.
But yeah, so I don't know how much we're going to name drop, but I think it should be okay. Especially if we don't use like first names or something. I don't even know my teacher's first names. So
Yeah.
I mean, other than Kiri.
Yeah. Other than Kiri,
but I don't
love
even know
Kiri.
her. No, it's
Yeah.
yes.
Just drop her full name. What's her address?
Hey, whoa. So 1st grade, I was okay. Well, kindergarten. Let's start kindergarten because I actually don't remember my 1st grade or my kindergarten teacher. I think it was Miss. Right? That sounds right. Or was she a 4th grade teacher?
I moved here in 06.
Okay.
So I
you did not kindergarten boy with me.
No, I did
Okay,
not.
so I lied. Well, actually, no. Kindergarten was part of elementary school, right? That's
Was
the thing,
it?
right? Isn't it? Or
No,
is
it's
that like
like a-
before?
It's like a pre.
It's like pre-cum.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say preschool, but
It's
okay.
it's the pre-cum. So then, okay, so we didn't. Okay, 2nd grade teacher. Who'd you have?
Ooh.
I had Mrs.
I did not have Mrs.
Mrs.
No.
Oh, okay. I kind of remember them. Well, the thing about art, I don't know if this is just like elementary schools in the U.S. or whatever, but in elementary school, you're kind of just in your you're in your class and that's it. That's all
Yeah.
you know. You
Yep.
don't really branch out into other classes. I mean, you might hang out in like lunch or in lunch or recess, but our lunch and recess were like 15, 30 minutes total. So if you weren't like, you basically just knew your class and that's it. You didn't know very much about the neighboring class. I mean, whenever you had to do something for another class, like bring papers or whatever, you're like, ooh, you know, I wonder what other classes there are. And you would see these new people literally every time. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But that's just kind of how it worked. You didn't really socialize with the other classes. That's at least that's how it went in our kindergarten or in our elementary school.
Yeah. And I mean, it was mostly just like you kind of interacting with people who you met from years prior and you were close with.
Yes.
And like that's how it was with you and I for pretty much like all of middle school and high school.
Yeah,
Because
basically.
like I think one of the only other classes that we had together was guitar lab.
Yeah, you're right. That was in middle school. Did we not? Okay, so third grade,
Third grade.
we had Miss.
Yes.
Yes. Shout out to Miss. Fantastic teacher.
Dude, she
was
was-
so great.
Oh my gosh, she
She was so nice.
she was a saint.
She was. I miss her. I hope she's doing okay. One time, oh man. Do you remember Leo?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gotten into some unfortunate events, but we won't talk about it.
Yeah.
But great guy. He and I were really good friends growing up, and we made it a habit where at the end of every year in middle school, we would come back and visit her.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so it was so great. And then one time, Leo couldn't make it, but I was like, well, I can do it. So I came back and I was like, oh, but this was high school. Like, it's been a couple years into high school. I think I was a sophomore, I think, at this point. I was like,
Okay.
oh, she might not remember me. So I came through and she was like, Arthur. And I was like, oh,
My heart.
my heart. Yeah, she's such a nice lady. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's really cool when you have those connections with teachers even from, that long ago, cuz
Yeah.
that was like the 10 years ago,
Yeah.
11 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just surprised too because they know a lot of names, they meet a lot of new students, and they
Right.
make a bunch of new relationships. So the fact, I mean, I wouldn't even be offended if she forgot my name.
Yeah.
I mean, she probably did at this point. I'm not offended by it because there's so many names going through her brain, and she has to
Right.
remember for her class, for classes next to her, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard really, and you really can't be offended if they forget your name. But if they can remember you, then that's enough, I think.
Yeah, and also, you're talking about something that happened, probably third grade, so we were like 8,
I think that's
9?
how it works. I think.
And so, that was like 12 years ago. And so it makes sense for people to just gradually forget over the course of time,
Yeah.
especially when like you're not interacting with them a lot. And like,
yeah.
Kiri is a good example of that because, she and I talk all the time still, and I haven't been in a class of hers for like 4 years. And so it's just like, it's just one of those things where if you try to make a connection with a teacher that you've had in the past or, whatever, then it'll happen.
Yeah, it will.
But, that it's just like it's an interesting thing to go back and have someone who hasn't seen you in literally a decade recognize you.
Right.
That's a super bizarre experience. And that, like, especially for Mr.
Oh, dude.
Dude, I saw Mr. at Clark when I was playing for Clark.
Oh no, that's so great.
Yeah, and so that was super cool. Anyways, okay, we're getting a little bit off topic.
No,
here.
I don't think so. No, we're still on topic. I think
we're
we're just talking about our schools right now and our teachers.
Yeah,
By
yeah.
the way, we brought in Kiri a lot. She was our ASL teacher
yes,
in high school.
and
So-
she gave you permission to kick me in the face on stage.
yes. Put on the face. Oh no, I punched you in I gave you a good ringer on the face.
Yeah, and then you stomped
And I
on my
stomped
head.
your head.
Yeah.
That sounds very malicious. Don't worry, it was stage fighting.
It was stage
But
fighting.
I was pretty good at stage fighting.
Yeah. Okay. I know we're bouncing around in timelines a lot, but just to put this into perspective, right? I'm laying on stage. And
This is during the ASL show. So we
Yes.
mentioned this a little bit in the first episode. The ASL show, again, is kind of like a variety show. It's kind of like a theatrical performance where
Right.
all of the ASL classes come together, do like a song, or they get a song, and they perform it.
Right.
So,
And
yeah.
so ours was Bohemian Rhapsody, which was the coolest thing. You edited the audio for that.
I
So
did. Yes, I did.
good on you for that.
Yeah.
The stupid gong, man. Um,
Gong.
Bro. Anyway, so basically Arthur punches me in the face. Not really. He didn't actually hurt me. And then I land on the ground, and then basically Arthur stomps as close as he can to my head. And I swear, I think it was like the second night, you were like here.
I did get pretty close.
You got very
I got
close.
very close. I would never hit you. Come on, man. I'm yellow belt in 3 different taekwondo classes. Come
Yeah.
on, man. I know what I'm doing. I know how to stage fight.
Yeah. And so that was just super fun because that was the first time in a long time that we were able to share a stage together.
Yeah, because before that it was in middle school. So
Right, yeah.
we kind of skipped around a little bit, but in middle school, I don't think we did go through every single one of our teachers, but in middle school you were in band, and what did I do? I took like guitar class. There was a guitar class that just started up.
Yeah.
By said Mr. And I ended up getting into it. And at the time, I was taking guitar lessons already.
Right.
And I had already for a couple of years now, so I knew, I knew how to play guitar. I knew how to read tab and sheet music and chords, and I knew a lot of chords. Unfortunately, not as much as I do now. But I mean, maybe I'd love to. I mean, I don't know. I could pick up a guitar again. But point in case, I knew a lot about guitar already, and I was just sitting there jamming away while everybody was learning C chords and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I felt kind of bad. In retrospect, I'm thinking back at it. I'm like, wow, I was such a fucking dude. I can't believe I do. Like everybody's sitting there learning like C, and I'm just sitting there like hitting bar chords and stuff and like licks, and I'm like, oh geez. I'm looking back. I was such a douche. Why did you guys like not stop me?
Well, the cool thing too is that you and I had been close friends for a long time by that point, and what? Oh, what? Oh, that light isn't on? Damn it! Oh, I'm supposed to be light guy. Damn it. Anyways, okay. So, I remember when we were in guitar class, you started teaching me a lot more stuff that I had never really learned, from the guitar class, and so you and I were basically like 2 people who were learning from each other, and then just everyone else was kind of on their own, learning from and trying to like learn chords and what was that song called? The
Gosh. What song was that? Shoot. That's so old. It's like out of my memory.
Smoke on the Water.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it was interesting because that's more of like using power chords, but I don't think we did that.
We did.
No, we just did the notes. Just plucking the individual notes. Even though I
Yeah.
think it's more power chords, but I mean,
Anyways,
I remember that. So I remember what happened is that we would get like books, right? He would have books
Right.
for us with a bunch of things to learn, and then there were like extra learning parts of like an expert version of the songs that we were learning,
Mm-hmm.
and naturally I did those instead.
Yeah.
And to be fair, thinking back, I don't remember they weren't that more complicated. They were just extra notes, like
Yeah.
in between notes, or like just more chords and stuff, if I remember correctly. Because it'd been a beginner level class, of course, so you're really only learning like just hitting like just the notes, the melody, right?
Right.
So you're just plucking the melody, and then the advanced version would just be adding accompaniments to it,
Yeah.
like strumming a chord while doing the melody or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
or just like finger picking patterns
yeah.
and those types of things. Yeah. And we had that class together, and then shortly after you joined jazz band.
Yes, I joined jazz band from it, which was weird at the time because you didn't join jazz band until you joined the band, actual band first.
Right.
So jazz band and band were 2 different things.
Yeah.
In our middle school at least, and typically you would join the normal band first, and then you would join jazz band into from it. It's more like
Right.
I don't want to say more advanced. It's more advanced technically, right? Because it's
Yeah.
jazz. But it was more of like, oh, you're pretty good. Would you like to join the jazz band? That's how it went. So I joined
Yeah.
the jazz band just from the guitar class.
Yeah. And that was really fun.
It was so much fun. I remember the first year I was kind of a little. I mean, honestly, God, I could talk about my awkwardness of growing up just later. But yeah, my first year was kind of weird. But everyone was super nice, and it was great. And was great, and I still honestly remember like everybody. Maybe not by name, unfortunately, but I do remember everybody. It was a great experience. But yeah, I was just the guitar, the rhythm section. I just played my chords and stuff, and helped keep the tempo in the background and stuff. And I was happy. I really was. I actually enjoyed it a lot more. I'm not really when I play piano. I consider myself more of a soloist. Sometimes I wouldn't say I'm like the greatest, like technical wise, because I don't. I don't practice scales or anything like that, which I should, but I don't.
Yeah.
But when I was playing guitar, I consider myself more of a, not a backup, just like a rhythm
accompanist.
player. Accompanist, yes.
Yeah,
accompanist.
yeah.
So playing the chords and stuff, and doing strum patterns to match the mood and the atmosphere of the song and stuff like that. I enjoyed that a lot. So playing the funky major seventh add eighth flat bullshit, that stuff. I enjoyed that a lot. But that was
flat 13
flat
chords,
13th, flat 12th, just flat everything. Like, wait, what is it? Isn't this just like a F now? Shut up.
No.
It was a lot of fun though. It was so much fun. I would never trade that for anything else. That was a great experience. And it wasn't until so this was in 7th grade when I first joined, and that's all I did. And then towards the end, he gave me a solo.
Yes.
It was for that reggae song. I don't know if you remember it. Like, it was a reggae song. I don't remember how it went, like the actual song.
I do remember you having a solo in Can't Buy Me Love.
Did I?
Yeah. That was...
I actually don't remember that song, like, at all.
Can't buy me love. I don't know.
It was a long time ago, but at that point in 8th grade, I got more solos. So at that point, it gets a little muddy. But in 7th grade, I got my first solo, which was that reggae song. And it was actually, looking back, it was actually pretty difficult because reggae is actually pretty difficult because the timing it's more like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like it's more 2, 4 rather than 1 and 3.
Yeah.
And it might not seem that hard, but for me as a 7th grader who doesn't know very much about music yet, that was kind of a little difficult to wrap my mind around. And the solo itself had a bunch of weird like chords and timings and stuff. So I was like, it was like that.
Yeah.
It was just kind of grooving, right?
Yeah.
And for my first solo, and I've never played that type of music before, reggae before. I mean, I played reggae, but not solo before. It was pretty difficult. And I remember for the first concert that I was supposed to solo it, that was the day before it. I had lessons, and me and my tutor were just cranking it out until I got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I was like so, oh god, I don't know, I can't do this, all that type of freaking 7th grade anxiety, performance anxiety type thing. Like, I can't do this or whatever. And we just sat down literally until like 10, 11 p.m. just cranking it out until I got it. And I was like, yes, let's go. Also, oh man, this was another story. I don't think I said it, but one of the concerts that we did, I had a solo. It might have been the same solo, it might have been a different solo, but my strings broke the night before.
Oh, that's right. You told me about that.
My strings broke, like 3 or 4 of them, and we didn't have any replacements. And then we're like, oh shit, because normally we did, but we just happened to run out. Like just part of it was just me being like, I don't need any more strings. I didn't buy any, or we used them up, and I was like, I'll buy them later. And then of course they snapped, and we're like, oh well, shit.
Well, shit.
Yeah. So she was calling, and she my music tutor, Miss Jane, Jane Yee. She's done a lot of music stuff, like touring and all sorts of rock and stuff, and she has a pretty good name in her space around like the 70s, 80s type space. So good on her. Unfortunately, we don't really talk too much anymore. But I still love you. Thank you for teaching me the ways. The ways. But yeah, she was like calling up Music World and all of like Big Hawk and all these sorts of places. Like 11 p.m. of course, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, she had connections, of course, so she was not just calling the place, but the people who were operating it and stuff like that, trying to get anything. And then she was like, "This kid, he has a performance tomorrow morning. We need strings. I need to replace it because he doesn't know how to replace, etc., etc." And we're like, "Oh god!" And it worked though. It worked out.
Yeah.
So that was a heart attack. But I remember that specifically. I was like, and it was at that moment where I was like, "All right. I will probably not procrastinate anymore, maybe.
Yeah, and here you are.
Here I am. I woke up an hour ago.
Basically, yeah. I've had a lot of very interesting kind of performance scares. Like, so my main instrument throughout middle school and high school was baritone sax, the really, really big one. I was a tiny
baritone sax. That's what I know Zach for.
yeah, and
sax.
baritone sax. Yeah, and so that thing was literally bigger than I was.
It was massive.
It was
like
massive.
it was massive both in length and width. It was nuts.
It was one girthy boy. Anyways, so I remember there was one time where I was sitting waiting to go on stage, and some guy stole my hat, and I unclipped my saxophone from the harness, and so it was just laying in my lap. And then I kind of stood up a little bit to go and like grab the hat, and it fell.
Was I there for this? Was it during jazz band?
Probably, yeah, it was during jazz band, and it left such a massive dent that there was some notes that I physically could not play.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that was definitely one of the worst performances. I've had reeds break mid-performance. That's terrifying. Like, yeah, I mean, talking about just like random things that have gone wrong in a performance, like yeah,
yeah, it's tough. I mean, we're middle schoolers, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we've performed a lot at that moment, but we're still kids.
Yeah, exactly.
So there were a lot of things that we're not able to digest as well, not retain in our memory as well, and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I mean, but we're doing our best. We're doing our practices and our due diligence. But there's only so much a couple 13, 14-year-olds can do, right?
Yeah, and you know, as I got older, it definitely got a lot easier for me to just kind of adapt and just kind of wing it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it's kind of like how you can learn all of these pieces, like on piano, for example, like for myself, I just learn all these pieces, and then at some point I can just improvise.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I know scales, and I know the keys enough where I can just play around on the key, right, and on the scales and such. So
yeah,
you know, it is also just the maturing of the knowledge you have of music and learning more. Right.
Exactly.
And now that you have learned more and you have the prior knowledge to kind of sink it into your brain more, you're like, okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, I can look at this note and I can start sight reading and stuff like that.
Yeah.
God, I have so many sight read nightmares.
Oh my gosh.
When we did sight reading performances, I was not very good at it yet.
No.
So whenever they're like really complicated chords, right, like the flat sevenths and whatnot,
yeah,
I just played the bass chords. I just played like C. Looking back, I was like, oh, they will notice. They totally noticed. I mean, if they're professionals, they know. They're like, this kid just played a fucking C major instead
like
of a C major, flat fifth, flat seventh, add 9. I'm like, oh god.
it's like a C9 flat 7 or yeah,
something like that. And I just like,
C. They're like, wait a minute.
Wait, did this kid just? But yeah, sight reading was very difficult. It's still sight reading difficult for me as now, but
yeah, and yeah, like, oh man, dude, I have so many stories of over the years, because obviously I've performed a lot more on stage, I guess, than you did during your time.
Technically you did, yes.
But like, you know, obviously you did a fantastic job, and I'm not trying to like belittle that in any means, but like as goes for like a track record of like time, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're just better than me, Zach. If that's just what you want to say, then just say it, Zach.
No, I'm not.
You're
I'm not
better than me, Zach. Arthur, you're shit. You know nothing, you peasant.
You're a peasant. No, but in all seriousness though, it's like it's just really crazy, because like I have spent so much time on stage. It was literally for like 9 years straight.
Yeah.
I spent like a lot of time on stage.
Oh yeah, no, you've done a ton on stage. I mean,
yeah.
I only excuse me. I mentioned that I only did jazz band in the last podcast, I think. So that was only 2 years. So I only performed for school for 2 years, and then Zach kept going on to high school. So we performed high school level, college level, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
So he just kept going, and I was just like, yeah, I'll do track and field. You know, I need
like,
something to do.
You're like, I'll run.
I guess. I hate running, but I'll run.
Yeah, and you know, there are a lot of really cool things that came out of the time that I spent performing on stage and all of that kind of stuff. And it's just cool because like that is what made the ASL show so much more fun, was that I was able to share the stage with you again,
Yeah,
which
no,
I
for
hadn't
sure.
done in, years by that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even though you were the guy that stole my girl, whatever, I don't really care.
I did. I was just on the bench and I stole his girl.
Yeah.
And I beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. But with all that being said, though, just being able to kind of relive the good old days in a different way was super, super cool. And yeah, that's something that I'm like super grateful for, is just the amount of time and experience that I've been able to have with performing. Because like, dude, I have horror stories.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Like, I had my saxophone break like a half hour before I went on stage, and so I had to borrow somebody else's. And
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
If you hadn't figured that out, it was literally like 4 or 5 years ago. Don't worry, COVID didn't exist. I don't think.
Yeah.
At least the government didn't tell us yet.
When does the government tell us when anything's happening? Anyways,
The cure is already out for them.
Segues are weird. So
maybe we don't talk about COVID. All right, Arthur, come on.
All right, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, touchy subject. Ooh, we are not the news. I just hit my mic so bad.
It's okay, Zach. They didn't hear it because I have to sit there and edit it.
It was in the middle of me talking. You're not going to be able to get that out.
I'm just going to cut you off.
It's so funny when we're sitting here, because like I am very ADHD, like fiddly finicky, like just moving around a bunch, and you're just sitting there staring into my soul like, I fucking hate you.
Come on, Zach. I have to edit that out, Zach. Don't you dare adjust your microphone stand.
Again. Yeah, but anyways, segueing back to the
segue that we segued away from.
Yes. So yeah, it was an interesting time, because spending as much time on stage as you did or as I did,
mm-hmm.
It's like it almost becomes like a second home in a way. Like you spend so much time like practicing for something and like working towards it, and then you just feel super comfortable on stage. And that sounds absolutely crazy to anybody who's afraid of public speaking or, being in front of big groups of people. It's like, why the hell would you ever want to purposefully put yourself in a position to be in front of a ton of people?
Yeah, what are you, a masochist?
Yeah.
What are you, a massagist?
Massagist? Yeah, but, even with all that stuff, it's just, it was just a thing that you and I both enjoyed doing a lot. And, I wish you could have done jazz stuff with us in high school and like.
Oh yeah, I would do too. But I mean, if you consider things like butterfly effect type of stuff, things happen for a reason, and we are here where we are right now. Like, if I did jazz band, what would I be doing right now? Would I still doing this? So
right.
I may not have done it, but I mean, maybe just somehow, some way, there was a reason, or it was a good thing that I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And there's an alternate universe where I did do it anyways, but we're not living in that universe right now. I mean, if I've kept doing it, what if I just never picked up piano again? What if I stayed playing guitar? I mean, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But man, what if I didn't watch anime, Zach?
Oh no.
What if I didn't? I would rather die than live in a timeline where I knew I was watching anime in a different timeline. I would be like, no.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even know how you still deal with my shit.
I don't either.
Yeah, but like
yeah, I mean we've been friends for way too long, so
yeah.
There's a point of we are friends, and then there's a point of like this is just what he did. No, I'm just kidding. But it is though, because when we know each other for so long, there are things that we just like. I mean, you deal with my shit, I deal with your shit, and it's a mutual dealing with shits,
Yeah, and also at the same time, like at this point, we've gone too far.
We have gone too far, and really, like at this point, literally nothing you say offends me, and nothing I say offends you. I hope.
No.
I don't know. Okay, yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
that's how we can deal with each other's shits.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that a lot. So you can either take that literally or symbolic or metaphorically. We deal with each other's shits. So, and it's fine because, you don't get offended by anything I say. I don't get offended by anything you say. So it's just natural that if things happen between you or me, then we just figure it out, work it out, crack some jokes, and proceed. You know.
Yeah, and that's the nicest thing too, is that since we've known each other for so long, there are a lot of things that we can talk about that aren't off limits. And especially when it comes to like personal problems that we're having, we've been able to just kind of talk it out and figure it out. Because that's what friends do.
That's what friends do. That's what friends are for working together and getting through hardships together. Yes.
Yay.
This is how anime English dub sounds like.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Well, that's not for this one though. Not for today. Not for today.
Not for today. Nope.
Not for today.
I love how our podcasts are becoming us talking about things that we shouldn't talk about yet. And then it's just like,
I know. It's just, but okay, we get so sidetracked that at this point we should just stop. We'll just like, if we just talk about, we just talk about it at this point. But yeah, we grew up together and in high school. So we didn't actually hang out very much in high school.
Right.
And this is going back to what I said in the first podcast. By the way, if you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and watch it. It's basically just like a taste of what's going to be this podcast that is the Uneducation Station.
Yes.
Just talking about the finites of what we are going to go into, which is everything. So if you want to taste
everything.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
So if you want a taste of it, go ahead and get that for kind of like a what's the word? Not an appetizer, because I guess just a taste. Yeah, just a taste of the meal that you're going to get. This massive 50 billion course meal. Yeah. But yeah, what I mentioned was that the way high school just ended up working, and this is something I noticed midway, is just like you can be super duper good friends, like as we were, and as
right.
with all of our friend groups that we had in middle school. And then literally freshman year of high school, we stopped talking. We don't hang out anymore. Our super close friend group just disperses. Somehow we don't notice it. We're just like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
Were we not just the super closest chum buds like literally last year?
Yeah.
And it's weird because we don't obviously hate each other.
Right.
We just, because high school, like in elementary school, middle school, it's kind of like we all knew each other,
Yeah.
If you didn't move to a different middle school, you usually go to the same middle school as the people that you were with in elementary school. So
right.
we literally grew up together. We all had all these friend groups, small and large. And then you go into high school, and now all these different middle schools and elementary schools and all that type of stuff are in one place. And now there's a bunch of, like literally a bunch of new people, and you just meet new people, make new friends, and that's just kind of how it goes. And that's a good thing,
Right.
That is a good thing. But it's a little sad to see like just your super close buds growing up, and then you just disperse unintentionally.
Yeah.
But I mean, it goes to show that even though we did that, we're still super close buds.
You're still stuck with me.
I'm still stuck with you, even though we didn't hang out for 4 years, basically.
Yeah.
More than that, because going into college, we basically didn't really talk very much during like the 4 or 5 years, and we're still super close. So that's why
I don't even like what. How did we end up here?
How did we end up here?
I don't know.
Yeah, we thought we got rid of each other, and here we are again. It's like this magnet. And that's why, but that's why I always, but getting back serious, that's why I always think that relationships are really hard to break. If you make a very strong relationship with someone, that super close bond, it's hard to break that. And even if you think, I haven't really talked to this person in like 4 or 5, dare I say like a decade or so. Right. But we were like super close buds. Like you talk with everything about them. Right. And you grew up with them and all this and that. If you meet again a decade later, it'll be like none of that time ever, like
none of it ever happened.
None of it ever happened. Like all the missed time never happened. It was just like yesterday we were talking. And I really strongly believe that.
Yeah, and like I'm really grateful to be in the position where I've had a lot of relationships like that. Whereas you and I, we didn't talk for like you said 4 or 5 years, and then it's just something just clicked, and then no time passed. It literally felt like no time had passed, and we were just back to playing video games and doing hooligan shit together.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, I don't think you've ever met Ben before. But I've known him for longer than I've known you. And he and I went to a different middle school and high school from each other. But he lived right down the street, and so I was able to hang out with him like all the time. And then he went off to college, and I'd see him maybe like 3 or 4 times a year, and he'll just call me randomly, and then it's just like nothing has changed, and we'll just sit there and nerd out about whatever, and like that's how you know that it's gonna last for a while. Like, you're stuck with me,
Yes.
whether you like it or not.
I can't answer that. At this point in time, I have no answer.
Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, but that's just one of those things that I'm really, really grateful for, because you are probably the main reason why I got into streaming and why I started playing a lot more PC games. And
We got him, boys.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we got him. Get rid of that PS4, Zach. He is no longer needed.
Yeah, but like, you got me into streaming. You gave me a outlet to do all of my fun photography and video stuff, which I am still grateful for to this day, because like I am so excited about how everything is turning out and how I could help kind of turn this into a reality. And so yeah, it's just like, it's a very satisfying feeling when you can provide your own kind of area of expertise to a fever dream of a project that one of your best friends has. And it's just like, oh, you need camera gear? I have camera gear. Let's turn this fever dream into something that it's actually happening.
I mean, it's for any kind of production, right? I mean, for a production, you need a team.
Right.
You need a team of specialists. That's all. If you're in my streams, you hear that a lot. Specialists. You specialize. Everybody specializes in a thing, because we're all unique and we have our own hobbies and our own, interest in things more than others, right? I might have more interest in one thing than you do, and you might have more interest in one thing that I do, right?
Right.
And that's just, it's not because we're ignorant of each other. It's because we just have different tastes, and that's fine. That's what makes us unique and different. So, but when you want to collab and make these, or if you want to make this project or whatever it may be, you need the help of a bunch of specialists to work on the different things that you need to be worked on, because I might not be good at, oh gosh, let's say costume design for a shoot. And what am I going to start making costumes? No, I hire some, or I'm not going to say hire, but let's just say I get someone.
You enlist the help of somebody.
I enlist the help of somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, for a production, of course, hire, but I'm going to say, just in the context of, let's just say like a project of some random sort.
Yeah.
I enlist the help of someone who does that, costume design, and maybe they enlist the help of someone who does makeup design and stuff like that. And and we get all of these specialists together to create something, like to create one whole thing of, it's not just something poorly put together that I sat there and amateured everything, because they're good at their thing, I'm good at my thing, they're good at their thing, you're good at your thing. So let's come together and do the things that we're good at doing, and then make something great.
Yeah.
It's a team effort. It really is. So,
and I mean, this is a perfect example of that, because you and I have been talking about doing something like this for a really long time, and we just kind of haven't really had the resources to be able to turn it into what it is. And literally just a random ordinary conversation that we'll have will start off as something brief, like me talking to you about what phone I should get, and it just turns into some 3-hour-long philosophical conversation, and by the end of it, I'm like, how the hell did we get here?
I remember this conversation.
Yeah.
we were looking at OnePlus phones.
Yeah.
In GearBest.
And then both of us
importing OnePlus phones from China.
And then now both of us have iPhones. We have regressed a lot.
No, we have not. Listen, we'll talk about this another time. Listen, I have a lot to say about Apple versus Android bullshit, all right?
Yeah.
We're
not even going to go there.
Keep going.
We're not even going to go there.
No, go back.
I swear I will turn this car around. No, but like,
That was a good one. I got that one. That was a good one.
Yeah. Whew, okay. But the cool thing is that it doesn't really matter what we originally start the conversation on. It's just something that can naturally evolve and develop into something different. And we had a number of different conversations about starting a podcast, starting like broadcasting the different types of conversations that we have, because we have a chemistry with each other that is pretty interesting to just kind of watch from an outside perspective, because when you see two people who are on like a podcast or on a show together or whatever, and they have the chemistry that you and I have,
it's very enjoyable.
Yes,
very entertaining.
It's very entertaining and very enticing to just kind of watch how they interact with each other.
Yeah, I mean it's both ways, right? Like you can have two, like a co-host and a host, or a host and a guest, right? And those are two different dynamics. So I mean, we might have guests every now and then, and you'll notice the different dynamic that happens, right? Because I mean, obviously, if we get someone like one of our friends, we'll have that dynamic. But what if it's someone like, I don't know, dare I say, when we're super duper, doing well, right?
Yeah.
And we can literally like fly people out. No, that's a dream, of course. But like, imagine, right? Imagine we were some sort of super professional, high grade type thing, and we had the ability to fly people out somehow, right? Or bring people in here and have them as guests. I mean, we may or may not have intimately interacted with each other. Sorry. Ugh.
Intimately?
Woke up. Is that not the right word?
I don't know. Wait.
I think it's the right word. Is it not?
It sounds right, but it also kind of sounds wrong.
Okay,
Anyways,
well, whatever.
continue.
Synonym for that. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Words. Words. But, there would be that dynamic of asking questions and interview process and that type of stuff, and instead of us just talking like we normally do, it would be getting to know the guest. Right. So there's a different dynamic, but the dynamic that we have now is that we've known each other already. We talk a bunch already. So let's just put some microphones between us and see what we talk about.
Yeah. And that's basically what it's going to turn into. It's not necessarily going to be a very regulated and planned thing.
Oh gosh, no. Going through the first podcast, I was like, yeah, there's no chance. I was thinking of timestamping it, and I was like, there would be so many timestamps of just random things, and then I would have to timestamp back to the topic they were talking about. No, it's just not going to happen. It'll just be a one-on listening thing, because we just go so off topic. I mean, this would be a timestamp right now, and then I have to timestamp back to the topic that we're talking about, and I have to timestamp back to the topic that we're supposed to be talking about, because we're not even talking about the topic that we're supposed to be talking about. So we're sorry, no timestamps. You can do it if you like in the comment section. I'm not going to do that.
I mean,
I've done my best to timestamp everything else whenever we do hour-long or stuff, like for my editing chats or for a Minecraft podcast and stuff. I've done my best to timestamp them. Not for this one.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely
no chance at all. It would be more confusing to have timestamps.
Yeah, because I just imagine like the titles of the different types of conversations that would happen throughout the course of an hour-long
Imagine reading a book and it goes like chapter 1, 2, 27, 26, 13, 4, 5, 6, 104, and you'd be like, what is going on? Yeah, that's what it would be like. So yeah, we're not gonna. Sorry, y'all.
Sorry. Yeah, and once we actually kind of calm down our ADHD brains a little bit, if we decide that we're gonna do that, I don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really realize the sheer amount of segues that we would have for the segues, and it was just like I didn't really think about it until we got here.
Yeah, you didn't think about it, but that's how our normal conversations go anyways. That's why it goes everywhere, and that's why we talk about everything, because we just tangent. We tangent off of tangents. Yeah. And that's just kind of like how our conversations end up. And I'm sure it's interesting to listen to. For us, we don't think about it, right? Yeah. We're just talking. I mean, to be honest, if anybody's talking, you might tangent a bunch anyway. Actually, I don't know. Maybe some people have normal conversations. I don't know.
Maybe those are weird people.
Those weird people.
Yeah.
But that's just how we normally talk.
Right.
So that's how I imagine the format of this is going to be. Like, we can be as regular, we can regulate it as much as possible. We can have a time that we come, we can have a time, all of these, the setup that we normally have and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's so much that we can actually regulate.
Yeah. And also, it doesn't really matter. Like, as long as, like, this was supposed to be an origin story, Arthur.
That's what I'm saying. Now we're talking about the format of our what is this, meta?
Yeah, I don't know. We're breaking
the fifth, sixth wall.
Yeah, we're breaking so many walls.
FMJ bullet penetrated through the fourth wall, and we're now on the 10th wall. We're talking about how we might as well talk about the encoding. I might as well just talk about my encoding settings at this point.
Yeah, and hey, by the way, guys, we're shooting at 1080p at 30 frames a second.
H.264.
H.264. Canon color science.
30 megabits per second bit rate.
We're just throwing a bunch of camera jargon, just like, ooh,
Yeah, but
ibis.
okay, listen. If we, I mean, I think at this point we've gotten what we needed to say about an origin story. We've grown up together, literally.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we grew up from elementary school to middle school, high school. Though we didn't talk, we still were in the same high school. We still in the same space. We acknowledge our existence at least a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, every time I saw you, I'd always
Exactly.
It was
It was not like a, you know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like,
not
oh,
one of that. It was like,
fuck, that
oh,
guy's here.
that guy. I thought he moved away. The fucking idiot. God, that douche who just sat there and flexed his guitar. Fuck, what a fucking douche.
That guy who did nothing but was nice to me. What the fuck?
Yeah, but so what kind of I know you got super into music during high school. I mean, you took like AP music theory,
Right.
And
Yeah.
I heard that was nuts.
It was.
I learned music theory just kind of off the side. Like I learned a little bit from my music tutor. Sorry to talk about so much about music, but it's just what we're very passionate about, and we'll do our best whenever we're talking about music theory and music in general to kind of generalize our tongue. You know, so we're not going to get super. You know, we're not going to talk about the super nitty gritty stuff, but we'll kind of try and generalize it, I guess, so it's easy to digest. But you know, music theory is very in depth, and you know way more than I do. Like I think I know like an okay amount, but you like I touched the dirt and you dug deep in.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, the interesting thing about music theory is that there is so many layers to it, because it depends on whether or not you're talking about writing music, so like using sheet music, or you know, you're talking about building chords and different chord structures and like all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, if you want to learn like your favorite pop song or something, you learn the 1-4-5s and all that type of junk, right? And
the 2-5-1s.
The 2-5-1s.
Wait, you know
learning...
how you were just talking about how we're not going to be speaking in tongues? That's exactly what we're talking.
Oh, you're right. Shit.
Wait. Hang on.
Oh, you're right.
Post Arthur, just put it like a 2-5-1.
No. No. But like, you know, like this, the C A F G C, you know, that type of, you know, heart and soul. you know, just you learn the chords like the C major, whatever. But in music theory, you learn like why it's like that, the crafting of it, you know. And then when you get to the sevenths and all that type of stuff, like why that works and all that, you know, that type of junk. Yeah, and
it's
creating the chord progressions.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when it starts to get super weird, because it's when it stops becoming the how, or when it stops being the how and it becomes the why.
Right.
That is when things get very weird, because that's when you start talking about like just a whole bunch of stuff that even just makes my brain melt.
Yeah, at this point, like I learned music theory from my music tutor for the most part, you know.
Yeah.
But now I don't really go out of my way to learn music theory. I just learn music theory as I'm learning more music, because now that I know music theory, I start to recognize things and I'm like, oh, this is part of it, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
The you know, counting like one, you know, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and like once you like, obviously.
You don't need to learn music theory to enjoy music.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
don't. That's not it, right? I mean, you might enjoy it more. You might enjoy it more. You might also, you know, be more critical of it, but you don't need it to enjoy music, of course.
Okay, if I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, I was like a jazz snob when I was in high school. Like, I literally listened to only things that came out in like from like the 1920s to the probably 60s or 70s. So. You know, it was just kind of something where I was like, oh, this is like real music using actual music theory. And then as I got older and as I learned like, oh wow, there's music theory everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I get into these disputes of like, what is actually music? There is no actually music. It's anything and anything and everything, you know. If you're singing, it could be the super critical and technical jazz, and can also be the pop song that everybody likes, right? And you can enjoy one and you can not enjoy the other, and it's fine, right? It's just music, and that's what's beautiful about it. And you know, I hate when people. I mean, you can, like I said, you can dislike whatever genres of music you like, and that's fine.
Right.
You know, that's the genres of music you dislike, or maybe not dislike, but just the genres of music that you're not into. That's fine.
Right.
But music is just something that it has, whether it contains a little bit or a lot, it has that music theory, and it's because of that music theory that it makes that music very, very great, right? And you can enjoy that, and whether it's. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I just get really heated about it when people say the actual music or real music. There's no real music. There might be some that are more technical than others, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, if you really boil it down to its simplest form, music is just an arrangement of sounds that are pleasant to the ears.
Yeah, exactly.
And or unpleasant to the ears. Who knows?
Yeah,
like,
right.
If you're feeling that really dissonant, raunchy, like the tense, like, you know, when there's about to be a jump scare in a horror movie,
oh,
you know,
yeah,
that
yeah,
just like
there's music theory in that.
Yeah, there's theory in that. And, you know, it's music is designed to make you feel a certain way. And so obviously, if just because the way that this music makes you feel is something that you don't like, that doesn't mean that someone else won't like it.
Yeah, it's just it's a trick. Music is like a language where it triggers emotion. Right. It's like a it's a way to kind of bring out an emotion that you wouldn't be able to bring out without that type of language.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of funny because I'm actually reading I'm reading a novel, by the way, a light novel. We were talking about this a while ago, how I would never do that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. So I started reading this. It's called Akashic Records of a Bastard Magic Instructor, and it's basically about this mage tutor or this mage guy who doesn't like magic, but he's forced to be a magic instructor. And then he gets a really his first of all, literally top 1, top 2 MC. I love Glenn. Shout out to Glenn. He's fantastic. I might make you watch it. It's a really good watch, but it's interesting because he gets really mad about like how music, or sorry, not music, magic. How magic is kind of like gone so far off course from the basics and stuff, and now you're just learning like so literal, but you don't understand, like they don't understand the structure of it. Why? Not the how, or you know, like you were saying, the hows, but in the whys, right? They're so far off the whys now, and he's starting to teach the basics and stuff, and it's really cool because in the anime it doesn't go that in depth. Or in depth, but in the reading, he breaks it. The author breaks it down.
Yeah.
There's like this structure to it, and it makes sense, right? And I was talking about how when fiction makes sense, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that, and it's really like he's breaking it. It's and this what I'm trying to get at here is that it's the same idea. It's like how the runic language that they say, you know, like when they're chanting their magic stuff, right? It's not obviously just English or whatever, you know.
Right.
It's a runic language, but the reason why they use a runic language is to put their conscious in a different state so that they can bring out that type of like magic fidelity, right? Because like if it's, for example, like imagine if magic existed in this world,
right?
You probably wouldn't be able to do it by just speaking English.
Yeah.
Right.
It becomes a universal language.
Yeah, and it retrains like your thought process to put yourself in. It's almost like putting yourself in a different frequency. Right. You know, like how like dogs hear that, like the dog whistles, right? Yeah. We don't hear that, but they do, right? So it's almost as if you're speaking in a way to where you wire your brain from the normal world or the normal speaking to this different consciousness, this different frequency, so that you can draw that magic out. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. Like the way music is that it's kind of like that. It's kind of just this different language that you remove yourself from the normal physical world and you put your conscious in a different space, and now you're able to feel these different types of emotions that you wouldn't be able to feel. Yeah,
and music is definitely a universal language.
Yes.
Because it has a way to draw different responses from people from all across the world. And like, dude, we were talking about this with anime openings, and like,
yeah, we literally were.
And like, you know, just because I don't understand what exactly they're saying, that doesn't mean that the music doesn't have a certain feeling that it is drawing from me. And you know, that could be literally any type of music with or without words. And you know, that is one thing that I love about classical music and jazz without lyrics in it, is that they use nothing but the language of music to be able to convey an emotion that they want you to feel,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
they're it's so cool
No,
when,
yeah, because lyrics, like in a song, I mean, not discrediting, of course, it's great, right, to have lyrics and stuff like that. But
yeah,
imagine for in one exhibit A, lyrics in a song, like they could talk about how sad they are, for example, or whatever.
right,
But in classical music, there's no lyrics, so they have to portray that by tone switches, by key changes, and by chords and progressions and
yeah,
different types of things, and then you feel that, and then you're like, wow, he's this part of the arrangement, he's feeling sad, right? Or he's feeling this type of emotion. And to be able to do that without literally telling the listener that they are sad or whatever,
yeah,
right? It's crazy.
yeah. And it's interesting because you can use a dark or a light sound, and so basically, like, you're able to use different types of sounds. And like, oh my gosh, Hans Zimmer, the guy who
Oh, yes.
uh
Interstellar.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
Interstellar, Batman the Dark Knight, and it just like, oh, it's just so cool how he's able to just, I'm pretty sure he did Pirates of the Caribbean too. Anyways,
Really? Oh, I didn't know that,
I
actually.
think so, maybe, I don't know. DMCA.
Shit.
And they're able to orchestrate the music to where it fits the tonality of the instruments, and also it's able to convey a very, very beautiful and complex story. And that's, that I could literally sit here and talk about music all day, because I literally have with you before.
Yeah.
And so it's just, the amount of different things that you can do with music is literally endless, because the rules of music are just, they're more like guidelines. It's like a template for you to be able to understand the way that most music is written. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to follow strictly by those rules.
Oh, no.
Which is why, you look at all of the great jazz musicians of their time.
Yeah, they break those rules.
Yeah, they broke those rules and turned jazz into their own thing. And you can create your own different types of music, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make it so that it has less musicality to it, but you could just mess around and do whatever you want and turn it into something that's just unique and beautiful. And so one of my favorite musicians, Jacob Collier, he is just like a music theory wizard. Like he does things with music that I've never heard anyone else do in my entire life of listening to music. And he breaks those rules and turns it into his own, and that's just, one of those things that I inspire to do with my own music.
Yeah, I mean, bringing it back to like anime again, I guess, like Your Lie in April, right?
Yeah.
Like that breaking of the rules, because that's kind of like the whole point of it, right? Kosei was just they called him a robot metronome type of thing or whatever, where he just played the sheets, the score, the way they were intended, the exact way that the composer did it, right? And everybody made fun of him or whatever. It was like, wow, this is why he's winning, because he's just catering to the judges and stuff.
Right.
But then Kaori comes in and she's just having a go. She's take that sheet music and she made it her own, right?
Right.
She, violin and plucked and all that type of stuff, and it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
This kind of emotion that she's able to bring, and it brings this kind of different color, because everybody's just like for example, in the violin competition, right? This is the very first violin competition, right? You're just listening to the same exact violin, literally the same song. That's how it works, right? That kind of competition. They're literally playing the same exact song with the same exact piano accompanist and that type of stuff. But then she goes in and she just works, right? She changes everything and she makes it her own piece. And it's not that, and then, the judges get real mad about it and like, but exactly like that. That's how they sounded. Probably in the dub. In the dub, they sounded like that.
Yeah.
But the crowd was going wild.
Yeah, because it was something different. And,
it was something different.
And you were able to pull the most raw emotions out through music.
Yeah, and that's how like Kosei was able to break through his thing, right? Like this his shtick. It's not really a spoiler, but I think, he was right. He was just so focused on that, and it was because of her that he was able to be like, maybe I should maybe I should try it too. Why I can't hear these piano notes and whatever, that's kind of the thing. He can't hear the piano notes.
Right.
Why, if I can't hear the piano notes, what can I do about it? I'll just play around with it, right? But I want to talk about like how, we were talking about the way music is that type of language that we're able to listen to without words, right? That's kind of how the performances went, right? Because there was dialogue, and you might think that the dialogue is weird, but the dialogue is basically just what you would hear anyways if you're just sitting there listening to the music. This is what everybody's thinking. Like him, like if he was playing, one of them was playing on the piano or whatever, and he's having this inner dialogue that you're listening to. This is what the music is sounding like. This is what you're hearing in the music. So it's kind of like this really cool way to represent that if you don't really understand that already, because we do, right? We're just talking about how you can convey that you're sad or whatever, how you're feeling just without words. That's basically like the literalization of it,
right?
And that's why it's really cool, because you can hear like how they are feeling, the atmosphere that they're feeling, the colors that they want to draw with their music, and the emotion and the atmosphere that they want to draw, and they are able to not only do it with the music, but carry it with their dialogue as well. And that's the dialogue that you would hear if you were to be in that audience and listening to it. Yeah.
And the coolest thing is that there are so many things that you can tell as either like a former performer or, a performing musician, is you can hear the way that the musician is feeling, like whether it's anxiety, whether it's fear, sadness, anger.
The audience, like the judges and the adults in there, they say it all the time, like, oh, the way Kosei is playing right now, he's very angry, or the way he's playing right now, he's trying to, like, I think one of them, they say like he's venting his anger on someone, and you'd be like, how in the world would they be able to tell that by just hitting key? You can tell that.
Yeah,
you can tell that. You can hear it. Like this guy is venting and he's trying to prove something right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were literally talking about like, oh, what does he have to prove? Mm-hmm. Or like, who is he proving this to?
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
whatever. It's just literally one of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to music is the ability to convey emotion and the ability to convey emotion and the way that people convey emotion through music.
Yes.
And that doesn't necessarily have to be super complex, deep-rooted emotions. It could, just be happiness, sadness, anger, whatever it may be. But it's just super cool. And, that's why I've become so drawn to it. And like, even now, like I feel like I have more of a passion for music now than I ever have.
I think so as well. Even like, I'm not in band anymore doing performances or anything, but I feel like my passion for music is a lot more than before. I mean, I wouldn't have bought my own piano for it if it wasn't, right? I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't be still learning and wouldn't be still playing. I wouldn't be spending all my time playing piano instead of doing things I should be doing.
Right.
It's definitely like it's gone full circle.
Yeah. And I'm looking at my music tattoo.
Yeah, show them the tattoo, Zach.
I don't know if I can.
Go upright like this. Maybe, yeah. Nope. Something like that. It's in a weird angle for camera. Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, he has a treble and a bass clef.
Yeah,
really cool design.
Thank you. Yeah, and the one of the main reasons why I got this tattoo is for me to never forget the passion that I have for music. Because it's something that's been a part of my life for almost my entire life, and that's something that I never want to forget, and that's a part of my life that I never want to leave.
Yeah.
And I hope that we're able to make our worlds collide a little bit with our different music expertise.
I think so as well.
That would be super fun. Yeah. But anyways, I think that this was a great tangent on tangent on tangent.
Yeah, we were supposed to talk about origin story, and then we talked about music theory.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 20 minutes of origin story and then like 50 minutes of just music jargon.
But hey, all right, summarize, we grew up together. We played music together, and here we are now.
And we love music.
We love music. We love music a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Next time, I guess, I don't know, maybe let's start talking about anime.
Ooh, yeah.
I think because it's going to be 3 episodes in, and we they're not meant to be talking about anime, but we kept talking about it. And the entire show was actually supposed to be
about anime.
About anime.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, we were like, oh, why don't we have a show about how some person who knows a lot about anime and someone who doesn't know a lot about anime who's getting into it, what kind of conversation that would be. And I'll go into a little more in depth of that kind of a thought process behind the original thought process of the show, which ended up not being that, but still part of that. And we'll definitely, I think, get into finally, like I tried to say before, the meat and potatoes of the actual show. But thank you everybody so much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribed to this channel because it is a new channel, and hopefully we can continue producing more. Again, there is a coffee. I don't know. I still don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's just coffee. But it's K-O. So I want to say Ko because of the way I pronounce things. But there's just a link to donate if you'd like to support us. Of course, voluntary. Don't have to do that. But it'll be much appreciated. It'll let us know that. Or it'll be another way to let us know that you enjoy what we're doing, and it'll maybe help us improve the set and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? If you don't have financial ways to contribute, just go ahead and drop a like on this video.
Yeah, and please do, and hit a comment. Let us know. Should we stop talking about music? Sure. Well, let us know. If you got super fucking bored, let us know. Yeah,
and like if there's something that you guys want to hear us talk about, because I think that you and I are both very open to the idea of just kind of talking about literally everything and anything.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have an interesting idea for something for us to talk about, something for us to kind of do on our little show that we got going on here, just leave it down below.
Yes, please do. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Anyways, with all of that stuff being said, I just kind of stole the outro from you.
Well, I mean, you did the intro, so I think you should do the outro.
All right. With all that stuff being said, we appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. And,
I already said that.
Huh?
I already said that.
Oh.
Just say bye, Zach.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
Peace.
I love you, New York.